My ex-wife, Rachel, came groveling back because she realized she'd be stuck paying me alimony and child support, plus she'd lose the house we shared. Man, talk about a plot twist. I came out on top in our divorce, and let me tell you, I handed it to her good. She was cheating, and she wasn't thrilled about the outcome. Now Rachel's the one cutting checks for child support and alimony, and she even had to cover my lawyer's fees. That divorce dragged on for 3 whole years, and it was a mess. Rachel always made a point to say she was fine out-earning me, even though I never cared or brought it up. Folks around us, guys and gals alike, would sometimes ask if it bugged me that my wife brought home the bigger paycheck. Honestly, it never got under my skin one bit. I was cool with it. I first met Rachel when I showed up at her condo to give a quote for painting the interior. I've been with this painting company forever, and I love the work, slapping on a fresh coat, plus doing odd repair jobs around houses. When I got there to talk about the job, Rachel and her friend couldn't stop chatting about how good-looking I was, which was flattering, I'll admit. Before I headed out, Rachel insisted I be the one to do the painting myself, even offering to pay extra if it took longer since we usually send a crew. I told my boss, and they made it happen. It took an extra day to wrap up, but Rachel treated me like a king the whole time. Rachel's an architect, and she took time off work while I was painting her place. The night before I started, she shot me a text telling me not to bother with breakfast or lunch and asked what food I liked. She whipped up some incredible meals for me, breakfast and lunch both days. It was pretty clear she was into me. That's how we started going out. We dated for 2 years, got engaged, and then tied the knot. I never would have guessed Rachel would cheat on me just 8 years into our marriage. We had 3 kids together, and after I found out about her affair, I got paternity tests done. Thank God, all 3 were mine. During our marriage, Rachel was always on the road for work, often with male colleagues. It never worried me, though. I trusted her. Her co-workers were all married, so I figured it was fine. When the kids were little, Rachel took maternity leave to stay home with them, but most of the time, my work hours let me handle the dad duties. I'd drop the kids off at school, pick them up, and help with their homework. Rachel's job had her traveling a ton, especially after she joined a new firm. She was basically a jet-setting architect, gone 60 to 70% of the time. I never suspected anything because nothing seemed off. Our sex life stayed the same, steady as ever. If anything, she seemed even more into it, but looking back, I guess that should have been a warning sign. Any big change, whether it's ramping up or slowing down, probably means something's up. That's all I'll say about that. Her old firm hit hard times and laid off a bunch of people, something about losing money, I don't know the details. Most of them, including Rachel, jumped to a new, growing firm that needed talent. Her new role meant even more travel, going to conventions, meeting with big-shot franchise execs, that kind of thing. At this new place, she was often on the road with one of the firm's owners. I met the guy, and he seemed solid, married, family man, talked a big game about his faith. But here's the thing, when your wife's spending that much time with another guy, even if he's married and seems like a saint, he's still a man. Temptation's a real beast, especially when you're together all the time. My job didn't have your standard 40-hour workweek. Some weeks, I'd have no painting gigs at all, so I'd pick up small handyman jobs while the kids were at school. I pretty much ran the household. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't scraping by, I had a decent chunk of cash saved up. I've always been careful with money, especially before I met Rachel. When we decided to buy a house together, she put some of the money from selling her condo toward the down payment, and I chipped in with savings I'd stashed away. Together, we snagged this gorgeous home that I'm still living in with the kids, and let me tell you, it's a beauty. Here's how I found out Rachel was cheating. The kids were over at my mom's place, she was taking them to a play the next day, and I had a job lined up for noon. Rachel was out in California for a work convention with her boss. It was about 11 p.m., and I was still awake, knowing I didn't have to be up early. She'd told me the convention wrapped up, and she'd be back at her hotel by 6:30 or 7 o'clock at the latest, probably after dinner. I figured she was chilling in her room, so I decided to FaceTime her. I don't know if her phone was on the bed or what, but the call went through, and I was waiting for her to say something. Oh, she said something, all right. The screen was pitch black, but I could hear her moaning and some guy grunting. I froze, listening for maybe 6 seconds before I lost it. I shouted, "Rachel, what the hell are you doing?" I heard her mutter, "Oh, crap," and then her finger ended the call. There's no question in my mind, she was cheating. I blew up her phone, calling over and over, but she wouldn't pick up. I was pissed, absolutely fuming. She was clear across the country, and I couldn't do a damn thing about it, like confront her or knock out whoever was with her. I didn't shed a tear, I was too mad. All I knew was this marriage was done. Finished. I didn't sleep a wink that night, I was up, stewing, the whole time. She had the nerve to call me at 9 o'clock the next morning, acting like nothing happened. I said, "Get on FaceTime right now." She tried to dodge it, saying, "I look like a mess." I wasn't having it. "Are you serious? I FaceTimed you last night, and you were obviously screwing someone. Were you with your boss?" She played dumb, saying, "What? What are you talking about? Was that you who called?" "Oh my gosh, babe, this is so embarrassing. I was watching a movie. You know, like on Pornhub. That one we watched together. That's what it was. I wasn't buying it. You're lying through your teeth. I heard you moaning, getting it on with someone. I'm not an idiot, and you're not gonna play me like one. I'm done. I'm divorcing you." Then I hung up. It was a Sunday, so I couldn't call any lawyers, but I filled out some online forms and followed up first thing Monday. I was dying to know who she was with. My gut told me it was her boss, but I needed to be sure. It didn't change the fact that I was divorcing her, but I just had to know. Maybe she hooked up with some random guy out there, but I doubted it. I did some digging. She'd left one of her laptops at home, the one the kids sometimes used. I knew the password, though I'd never snooped through her stuff before. This time, I went straight for her emails. She had a separate, private email account, not her work one. That's where she was chatting with her boss. Their messages were wild, they talked about everything, including some kinky stuff like bondage and BDSM that I had no clue Rachel was into that kinky stuff. From the emails, it seemed like her boss got her hooked on it, probably because his own wife wasn't into that scene. This guy at her new firm was definitely sleeping with my wife, and it had been going on for months, ever since she started working there. I was gutted, just completely floored. I couldn't wrap my head around it. Knowing he'd been with her for so long pretty much confirmed he was the one with her in California. Either way, our marriage was over, done for good. That Monday, I met with lawyers and laid it all out. I wanted to know how to keep custody of my kids, secure child support, hold on to the house, and get alimony. I went all in, and my lawyer was ready to take her to the cleaners. He explained I could ask for alimony and child support during the divorce or a legal separation. I could try working out a deal with Rachel outside of court, or let a judge decide. For alimony, I could include it in the divorce filings, negotiate with her directly, or the judge could grant temporary alimony while the case was ongoing or issue a final alimony order. The court would look at my income, assets, and other factors to figure out the amount and duration. For child support, it was similar, I could request it in the divorce, negotiate with her, or the court would consider my income, the number of kids, and other details to set the amount. Living in the same house with her for the next 5 weeks was pure awkwardness. Rachel was still jetting off for work trips, acting like nothing was wrong. One evening when she got home, a sheriff showed up at our door and served her with divorce papers. She didn't think I'd actually go through with it. I'd been telling her I was done, but she thought I was bluffing and didn't know I'd already lawyered up. I hit her with all the evidence from her emails. She just called me crazy, kept gaslighting me, saying I was being ridiculous, that we couldn't do this to the kids, and that I was selfish. When the sheriff handed her those papers, her jaw dropped. She called me every name in the book, told me to get out of the house, and said I had no right to stay. I stood my ground and said, "No way, I'm not going anywhere. If anyone's leaving, it's you." She laughed right in my face and said, "What, you think you're gonna take my kids and my house? That's absurd." I shot back, "You bet I am. You're the one who's leaving. Just wait and see." She just kept laughing. At the first divorce hearing, my lawyer painted a clear picture of how we were constantly butting heads at home and how I was the one taking care of the kids, which was the honest truth. The kids were always with me since Rachel was always off traveling for work. The judge didn't waste time, he ordered Rachel to move out immediately, still responsible for half the mortgage, and ruled that the kids would stay with me. Rachel lost it, calling her lawyer a damn moron right in front of the judge. She went on a rant, yelling, "This is insane. This doesn't happen anywhere in America. What's going on here? Are you all trying to screw me over? This is unheard of." She kept throwing insults, which only made her look worse. The judge snapped at her to calm down or else. I was feeling good, my lawyer leaned over and said we had this in the bag, and I was gonna get everything I wanted. Rachel started badmouthing me to all our friends, saying I was trying to steal the kids and that I'd lost my mind. She even spread lies, claiming she once caught me hitting our children. That's complete nonsense. I've never so much as raised my voice at my kids, never had to, never will. She was telling people she was scared I'd hurt the kids and begged for help to save them from me. The next divorce hearing was a total circus. Rachel's lawyer tried to make me out to be some deadbeat dad, claiming I was a danger to my own kids and too broke to keep a roof over their heads or pay for the house we lived in. He said I was so bitter and angry that I took it out on the children. They even dragged Child Protective Services into it. CPS talked to my kids, and every single one of them said they wanted to stay with me. They told the truth, Daddy's the one who's always there, loving them, while Mommy's hardly ever home. They even said they'd be fine staying with Granny, my mom. The kids didn't have a single bruise or mark on them. After that mess, the court decided the kids should stay with my parents for a bit. Things were getting ugly and complicated. Rachel did everything she could to stretch this divorce out. It dragged on for 3 long years. For those 3 years, I was rattling around in that big house all alone, but at least I wasn't footing the whole bill. Rachel had to keep paying half the mortgage. I covered the other bills, but since it was just me, it wasn't too bad. I kept the lights off when I didn't need them, didn't waste water, that kind of thing. I kept working, picking up painting jobs and side gigs, while she was off traveling for work, probably still fooling around with her boss. A couple of times, her family swung by to grab some of her stuff from the house, but she pulled every trick in the book to delay the divorce. It was infuriating. She filed a formal request with the court, a continuance, claiming she needed more time because of work travel and even had the nerve to lie about wanting to reconcile. She tried it all. She even switched lawyers twice, complaining that they didn't listen to her. She accused one of acting shady and missing deadlines and said the other was terrible at communicating. I could see my kids whenever I wanted, and Rachel had access to them too, but we set up a schedule to avoid crossing paths. I didn't want to lay eyes on her. The year we finally got the divorce finalized, she texted me out of the blue, saying she was sorry for everything and thought this whole thing was dumb. She claimed it would hurt the kids in the long run and whined about how unfair it was that she had to keep paying for the house she wasn't even living in. She said she missed being home and asked if she could come stay, just between us, like some secret. I shut that down quick. No way in hell, I told her. Don't come near this house. There's a court order, and you need to stay gone. We're never getting back together, and I swear this won't hurt the kids. Then she called me, screaming her head off. You're such a spineless jerk. Letting a woman pay your way? What kind of man are you? Oh, right, you're not one. Why did I even marry you? I just felt sorry for you. You were just some cute painter with no prospects, and I thought, this good-looking loser will worship me because I'm a success. I'm somebody. You're just a painter. You're nothing. Your job's gonna be replaced by robots any day now. Before that call, she'd sent me stupid memes of a machine painting a huge building, mocking me, saying my career was toast and I'd be some old guy in community college surrounded by kids trying to figure out life. When she finally stopped ranting, I kept it short. Alright, we're done. Don't call me again. I'm blocking you. Talk to our lawyers or my mom if you need to say something about the kids. She'll let you know where I'm at with them, and I don't want to see your face. My lawyer called me up with the big news: the divorce was finally about to wrap up. The court granted me temporary alimony until my youngest kid turns 18, plus child support until they're all 18. I got to keep our beautiful house. The alimony Rachel's paying covers the whole mortgage and then some, and she's got to fork over child support on top of that. Was she thrilled? Not a chance. The next day, she called me, and she was spitting fire. To top it all off, the judge ordered her to pay my legal fees, something we'd asked for early on that I'd honestly forgotten about. When she called, she was a wreck, threatening to quit her job so she wouldn't have to pay a dime. She went on, but it was all talk. She never quit. In fact, she texted me later, bragging about making partner at her firm, which means she's raking in even more cash now. I thought about going after a bigger slice of that, but I let it go. My kids are with me, and Rachel sees them when she can. There's no set schedule for her visits since she's always on the road. She's traveling even more now, probably gone 90 to 95% of the time, chasing deals for her firm and being its public face. I took a leap and started my own painting business. I've got a crew of young guys working for me, handling jobs all over town. I pop in to check on things, make sure everything's running smoothly, and I handle the sales up front, but most of my time goes to my kids. I'm making sure they're doing all right, helping with homework, and raising them right. I love those kids to death. My daughter keeps asking, "Dad, when are you gonna find us a new mom?" I just laugh and tell her to worry about being a kid and let me handle the grown-up stuff. I'm not out here looking for a new relationship, not even close. I'm damn proud of how I came out on top against my ex-wife. Some of you might wonder why I didn't try to get her and her boss fired. Here's the deal: if I'd done that, neither me nor the boss's wife would have ended up as well off as we are now. I had a heart-to-heart with his wife, showed her all the emails, and laid it all out. We agreed that if they lost their jobs, we'd get nothing in our divorces. So, we came up with a plan, and it worked like a charm. She's doing great, raising her kids on her own, keeping her house, and getting alimony and child support from her ex. I'm in the same boat. They can keep their fancy jobs, they need them to pay for the consequences of their actions. You don't get to run around having affairs without paying a price. If you don't want to be with someone, just end it and move on. So, that's my story, how it all went down. Right now, as I'm putting this together, my kids are sitting at the dinner table, chowing down. I love them more than anything. Looking back, I'm fired up about how it turned out. Rachel deserved every bit of what she got. She tried to play me with that nonsense about watching porn or just watching a movie, like I'm some idiot. It was laughable. The second I caught her cheating, I knew I had to divorce her. Yeah, she makes way more money than me, and she's out there living her high-flying life, but my kids? I'm the one who raised them, and they want to be with me. I figured out how to get alimony, child support, and keep the house. Women do it all the time, even when they're the ones who mess up, so why shouldn't I? This whole thing feels like a win to me. I'm proud of sticking it to her. My kids are my world, and I'm wishing them nothing but the best. If you're reading this, let me know what you think, drop your thoughts below. I'll catch you all later.